So when I was a kid and I started out playing football at around the ages of 4 and 5, I ended up being taller than everybody. I was pretty much the tallest player on my team, which naturally led to me playing as a centre back. Now, I played centre back for maybe 1 or 2 years, but just like a lot of kids, I wanted to play further forward up the pitch. I wanted to play, in midfield or even as a striker, simply because I saw the way, when people on my team would score goals and get assists, they get all the praises from the coaches, from the parents. Everyone will say, "Oh, what a great goal you scored! Oh, you scored 2 goals today. Well done! Oh, you scored a hat trick. Well done." And obviously the attackers at like the presentations and that, they would get all the awards, player, managers, player, parents, player, they would get all the awards. Like I remember like maybe like my first 2 seasons, like as a child, I didn't win any awards at the presentation, and I was looking around and I was thinking, yo, like I'm playing well, like I'm a centre back, but the defenders were just getting no love, you understand? Getting no love as a defender. So I always was like, yo, let me try and move positions. I wanted to play centre mid. I always just felt like I could contribute more to the team as a centre mid. So I asked my coach to play me, he gave me a few chances to play midfield. Sometimes I played in the centre, sometimes I played on the left, on the right. This is, we're talking 7 aside here, so maybe around 9 years old, 10 years old. And then eventually around 9 years old, I'm pretty sure when we moved to 9 aside, that's when I'd fully established myself as a centre mid, and I've pretty much been playing there ever since, pretty much centre mid and fullback right now. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to successfully change positions, how to successfully convince your coach to change positions, whether you want to go from a winger to a fullback, or fullback to winger, centre back to centre mid, or maybe you want to go all the way from centre mid to striker. You understand? You want to convince your coach that you're good enough to play the position that you tell him you want to play. So obviously the first step in order to convince your coach that you want to play a different position is that you have to go to your coach first. Obviously you have to tell him. If you don't tell him, he's never going to know, you understand? Empty mouths don't get fed. So the first point, you have to go to your coach. But it's not just a case of going to your coach and saying, "Oh coach, I think I can play this position, I think I can do this, can I get 10 minutes next game? Can I get 10 minutes to play further forward up the pitch? Can I play on the wing next game?" It's like, nah. If you're going to ask your coach, you need to be stern about it. You need to be like, "Yo, coach, I feel like I can provide more value as a centre mid as opposed to a centre back. I feel like I'll be way better at that position than I currently am right now, and I feel like we'll start winning games." Like, you have to go in there and be stern as a coach, be stern as a player to your coach. Because if you come off as like you're not really sure, you understand, you're more suggesting rather than demanding. You sort of have to go in there and sort of demand that you want to play that position. That was the thing with me. Even as a young player, I was like, "Yo, coach, I want to play a different position. I feel like I'll play way better in that position. I feel like we'll win more games." That's what I literally said to him. I was like, "Yo, I think if I move positions, we can win more games, you understand? We can win more games, and I feel like I can play better as a player, You have to be really stern as a player. You can't just go in there, you're scared, you're timid, head down and be like, "Oh, coach, can I get 10 minutes here? I think I can play better in this position," or "I suppose I can do this. Maybe I'm asking you to play a different position, but it's just a suggestion." It's like, nah, it can't come off as a suggestion, you understand? You have to be stern with it. You have to have confidence, have belief in yourself, you understand? Actually go to the coach and be like, "Yo, I think I can play this position. I feel like I'll be a way better player. I'll bring more value to your team, and we'll start winning more games." If you want to go out there and be like, "Yo, I'm better than this guy at that position. I know I can displace him from the team." If you really want to go there, then you can go there. You understand? Maybe you're a right back and you want to play on the right wing, and you feel like you're better than your right winger. Just be like, "Yo, I'm better than my man." You understand? I'm better than him. Trust me. I'll be more positive, I'll be more direct, I'll score more goals than him and everything. But you just have to go in there and ask your coach to play that position. But you have to be stern about it, be definite, be confident. Don't come off as you're just suggesting, or you're asking, or you're not really sure, you're not really too confident about yourself. Confidence is everything in this situation, because if you're not confident, your coach is going to start delaying it, you understand? He's going to be like, "Alright, cool, I'll think about it, I'll think about it," and then a week goes by. 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by. Literally, I've seen this with teammates where I've literally overheard them asking the coach to play a different position, you understand? Not just a different position, but to start games as well. A guy will come in there and he'll be like, "Oh, coach, I think I can play this position," or "I think I can start. I think I'm good enough to start." But there's no real conviction in it, you understand? There's no real conviction. There's no real, confidence in their eyes, which leads the coach to just be like, "Alright, cool, yeah, I'll think about it. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, and then guess what? The player ends up being unhappy and the coach doesn't really end up moving them position-wise, you understand? Or the coach never even starts them for games, you know what I'm saying? So it's literally just a case of you have to be stern, you have to be confident, because 2 months will go by, 3 months will go by, next thing you know, it's the end of the season and you're still stuck at the position that you wanted to move from. You're still stuck at the position, you're unhappy, and then you're going to blame it on the coach, and then you're going to want to leave the team at the end of the season. Whereas if you would have just gone in there with confidence and be like, yo, I can do this, I believe in myself, then you probably would have got that chance way quicker. So that's the first point. Literally, ask your coach, empty mouths don't get fed. Go in there with full confidence. Don't suggest that you want to play a different position. Literally, go in there as if like you're demanding, as if like you tell him, yo, I can play way better in this position, I can provide value, we will win more games, because that's the bottom line ultimately, winning more football games. Now the next point is, after you've done that, after you've gone to ask your coach, now you have to display the attributes that translate to your new position. Now, what do I mean by this? I literally mean, in training, if you're going from centre back to centre mid, you have to be the best player in like the possession drills. Anything that's based around being a central midfield player, you have to display those qualities so the coach can actually see you. If you're the guy who's dominating in the possession drills, you know, you're the best player, you're never losing the ball, and you're constantly winning the ball as well. If you're the best player in those possession drills, your coaches will take notice, whether it's your main coach or your assistant coach, they will take notice, especially if you've already told them you want to play in that centre mid position. They're going to be like, alright, cool. They're going to be looking for it. They're going to be like, alright, cool, there's this guy, can he really do it, you understand? Can he really be a central midfield player? They're going to have a more, what's the phrase I'm looking for, a more sharp eye on it. They're going to be more basically just keying in on you, just looking in on you and be like, alright, cool, can he play centre mid? And then if you show them in the position drills, you're checking your shoulders, you're playing off one touch, you can play off 2 touches, you can turn in a variety of different ways, you understand? If you show them, then obviously they're going to be more convinced, and you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and then eventually you're going to get your chance on the match day, you understand? You have to show these qualities, you know, being able to turn on your back foot, having awareness, playing in 1 or 2 touches, being able to turn out, knowing when to turn out, knowing when to bounce the ball back, just little things like that. In the small-sided games, whether it's like 5-a-side, 7-a-side, or even 9-a-side, yo, you have to be the guy who's controlling the tempo for your team, you understand? Control the tempo for your team, you know, whether it's you're a number 8, or your number 6, or even if you want to play, you want to move to a number 10, you just still have to be the guy where everything's coming through you, you understand? Everything good that's happening in that small-sided game in training, it's all coming through you. You literally have to show them that, yo, I'm ready to play this position. And eventually, trust me, a week, 2 weeks, you start bulling out in training, and you start showing that you have the attributes to play in your new position that you asked them to play. Trust me, they're gonna give you a chance eventually. This could even apply. Let's say you go from left back to left wing. Yo, you go from left back to left wing, then you have to be ready for those attack versus defense. You know, maybe it's like 3v3 attack versus defense. You're shooting in the 11-a-side goal. You literally have 3 attackers, 3 defenders. Yo, as soon as it comes to those drills, you have to be ready. You have to lock in. You have to be like, yo, alright, cool, it's your time. You have to see it as your time. If you're on the attacking side, you have to be like, yo, it's my time. You get the ball, you be positive, you understand? Whether it's you making an assist, making a run, whether it's your 1v1 ability, literally just being aggressive, just going at your man, being positive, getting your shots away early, you understand? Just show them that, yo, you have the ability to be a productive winger, you understand? You have the ability to cause the opposition fullback damage. You have the ability to run in behind, to get the ball short. You know, decision making is always a big one, you understand? Because obviously in that 3v3 drill, it's all about decision making, you know what I'm saying? You have to make the right pass, the right run, and knowing when to pass the ball, drive with the ball, to shoot with the ball. You don't really have, normally on those attack versus defense, there's always a time limit, or as soon as you get tackled, the ball's dead, you understand? You get tackled, there's no sort of running back and recovering the ball's dead, next drill. So if you're looking to go from fullback to winger, whether that's left back to left wing, right back to right wing, yo, those are the types of situations, even in the small-sided games, them 1v1 situations where you're being productive. Hey, even in the small-sided games, show that you've got the ability to track back as well. Be up and down that line as a winger. Obviously you want to focus on the attacking output, obviously. So focus on the attacking output, but then show that you have the ability to track back as well. You know, all coaches love a winger who tracks back or just plays who work hard in general. So yeah, make sure you're producing the goods attacking wise, being positive, going at your man, causing your fullback problems. you know, creating chances for your team, but also getting back. So yeah, that's literally the second point. You have to show the attributes that translate to your new position. Because if you continue to play the same way, let's say you're a left back and you continue to sort of play like a left back, they're always just going to see you as a left back, you understand? Or if you want to go from centre back to centre mid, or even winger to striker, if you continue that sort of that same playstyle, I'm not saying that you have to change your playstyle overnight, but you just have to be a little bit conscious of, yo, I need to sort of, you know, to show that I can do this. You know, if you want to be a striker, if you want to go from centre mid to striker, then you're going to have to show more attributes that represent a striker more than centre mid. Because like I said before, like I just said, if you continue to play the same way, they're always just going to see you as that centre back that you always were, or as that full back, or as that winger. Wherever you once were, they're always just going to see you as that, and they're not going to be able to, you know, their minds aren't going to be able to process the fact that you could be a striker, you could change your position to a winger, to your whatever new position you want to play. They're not going to recognize you as that. They're simply just going to always see you as whatever your current position is. And then the third point is simply you have to take your chance when it comes. When it comes to the match days, you have to take your chance. Whether you start the full game in that position, whether you play that position for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, for 45 minutes, it doesn't matter. You just have to take your chance, because it's all well and good doing it in training, but we all know as footballers, it's the match day that matters, you understand? At the end of the season, nobody cares about who was the best trainer, who was the best this and that. The best player award goes to the guy who was balling out in the matches, you understand? Nobody really cares about training. Obviously, it's nice to, you know, be a hard worker, always producing training, because it does translate to the match days. But at the end of the day, if you produce the goods on the match day, that's all that matters at the end of the day. That's the bottom line, helping your team win games. So as soon as that chance comes, you have to take it. Don't get discouraged if it's 10 minutes, if it's only 20 minutes, because yo, you have to take those 10-20 minutes and show that you can actually do something, you understand? Literally, however long it is that you're playing that position, just take it. If you're a winger, go out your man. Even if your coach decides, let's say you're winning 5-0, your coach is like, alright, cool, you can go on the left wing now. You go from left back to left wing. In those 10 minutes, you know, your team might be trying to just keep possession of the ball. I get it, you know, it's 5-0. You're not really trying to go for more goals. But yo, your team might be trying to keep possession, but you go at your man. You try to create more chances, you understand? In those last 10 minutes, yo, you can be involved in creating 3 big chances. Maybe one of them goes in, you get an assist, and your coach is thinking, yo, this guy, like, your coach will be looking at you like, yo, he really wants to play this position, you understand? Or whether he's from centre back to centre mid, and, you know, you're grabbing the ball off the centre back, you know, you're playing long passes, medium passes, short passes. Even in those last 10-15 minutes that he's moved you there, you're constantly controlling the tempo of the game. You look comfortable on the ball, you know, you're turning fluidly, you're playing in 1 or 2 touch. So just show him that, yo, I can play this position, and then eventually your minutes will increase, you understand? It happened to me even as a 9-year-old. It happened to me. I would start games centre back, and then last 10 minutes, my coach would be like, alright, cool, Jaden, you could go into centre mid, or you can play on the right or play on the left. And then yeah, I would impress in that position, impress in training as well. And then those 10 minutes move to 20 minutes. Them 20 minutes move to, alright, cool, you can play the second half. And then eventually we got to 9-a-side football, and I constantly just played centre mid for the whole thing. I showed that I can do it. I showed that I was comfortable on the ball. I could play a variety of different ranges of passing. I could get around the pitch, you know, be a ball winner, win the ball. And yeah, I've been pretty much playing, you know, centre mid ever since. Obviously now fullback as well, but still sort of centre mid, fullback, you understand? Still pretty much been playing centre mid for about the last 10 years, the last decade. So yeah, that's how you successfully change positions. That's how you convince your coach that you are good enough to change positions to whatever position you want to play. But that's the vid for today. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what videos you want, what else you want to see, what other videos you want to see. Hope you enjoyed. I've been JT, and I'm out.